Welcome to FDI Takeover. I'm Karen Ryan, your co-host with
Alex Smith. We are so excited to have you here. Welcome to FDI Takeover. Should we try our new little jingle that we did work with?
We have a new jingle.
FDI Takeover. It's so lame, but we love it, and we're working on it.
We absolutely love it. FDI, fucking do it. Get out of your own comfort zone. Lead with the heart. Come here to learn everything to live your best life by just fucking doing it. We're very excited today. We have a very special guest.
Yes, Roberta DeCastro.
Thank you
Welcome
so much
to
for
FDI
having me.
Takeover.
Thank you. Thank you. A pleasure.
I'm so grateful that
Such
you
a
are
pleasure.
here.
Thank you.
Roberta DeCastro is a dear friend of mine, and she is a woman of many different aspirations. She is a mental health therapist. She is a psychoanalyst. She is a researcher. She is about to release her new book on quantum healing regression, and we will get into what that means. But I am so grateful that you are here, and
My pleasure.
I would love
Thank
for you to
you.
share just a little
Thank
bit
you.
more about you as a person, expand a little on quantum healing, what you do for work, because obviously you do so many amazing things that are related to healing.
Exactly. Very related to healing. I'm a mental health therapist, a mother. I have 2 wonderful boys. I'm married, and I'm very happy. I'm a happy human being.
I love that.
Yes.
And what about your new book that's about to come out? You have to talk a little bit about it.
Well, the book is going to be mainly about the cases that I see in regards to regression. It's about quantum healing regression, all the cases and the clinical work that I do.
Awesome.
in
And
regards
what
to that.
is quantum healing regression?
Well, quantum healing regression is when you are able to heal yourself at a different dimension. Because sometimes we have to do that. We have to go to a different place because here we judge. And judgment is one of our biggest, flaws. We don't think that way, but yeah. Judgment. Not when we are judging people, of course, but more than that is when we are judging ourselves.
Do you feel...
And when you are in a different level, in a different dimension, there's no judgment there. We use no judgment. That's how you were able to go and see yourself and then see yourself for real within.
Do you feel that the clients, in your opinion, that you see, who is it difficult for them to be non-judgmental or understand that concept when you first invite them to it?
For a lot of them, yes. But for many of them, no. It depends on what level of... A lot of my patients that I see and do regression with, they are patients that I've been seeing and treating. So they're in a good place mentally. They are not so anxious, not so many racing thoughts. Again, going back to judgment. When you are experiencing a lot of racing thoughts and when you're very anxious, you're very into your head. You're inside your head. And you're not able to focus. And when you're not able to focus, because we do the quantum healing regression through progressive relaxation, so when you're not able to focus, it's almost kind of like meditate, then it's very hard for you to go deeper and go into a trance. Because when you do quantum healing regression, you put the individual in a trance. And in order for you to go into a trance, you need to be in a very relaxed and focused at the same time stage in your mind. And you need to be able to let go of everything. But for a lot of people, it's very hard, especially people that struggle with sometimes bipolar, depression, their minds are racing, anxiety. But for most times, 99% of the time, it's possible.
I'm so
It's
excited.
a great experience.
It is an amazing experience. I have had an experience with quantum healing regression. It absolutely took healing to an entirely new level. And I'm so excited to actually talk with you and educate people who are listening here. There's probably a lot of people that are listening to this that are maybe considering therapy for the first time. I think that we're in a really unique time in this day and age where the last couple of years, while mental health has been a buzzword for you, it's been your life journey. So I'm sure that you've seen such a shift happen around this topic over the last couple of years.
Shift. A huge shift. Everybody is looking for that. Now everybody is more conscious that they need it. And I think that was the biggest awareness You know, awareness is the key word to self-discovery. So once you are aware that you need therapy just as much as you need eating, just as much as you need to exercise, because that's what therapy is. It's, it's exercising your brain, is getting to know who you are. And quantum healing regression is getting to know who you are in a much deeper level, because then you get to know, who you are from past lives. We have a spirit within us, and we bring within the spirit all the knowledge from all of our past lives, all the knowledge, everything that we are, we were. So we are not who we are. We are everything that we are, everything that we were, and everything that we will be. Quantum physics proves that the past, the present, and the future already existed. So therefore, that's why I can bring you to a past life. I can bring you to your mother's womb. I can bring you to when you're 1, 2, 3 years old. So that is what quantum healing. And then the healing happens once you're there, right? And you process and reprocess the traumas. Then we can, help you to let go. And you can help yourself, actually, to let go.
When you said awareness, it was almost the word that came to mind was an awakening. I believe that through therapy, and I've had many years of therapy, and I was gifted a session with you by Alex for past regression, which was amazing. I believe that through lots of therapy that we have an awakening of who we really are. You become to a non-judgmental state.
Yes.
With looking at ourselves from, a different perspective. When you can look at yourself like as if I would look at either one of you, but I'm looking like that to myself, I can't lie. I have to tell the truth. And I had this beautiful awakening to the awareness within and the awareness around me. I think that's beautiful, Roberta.
It is. It's very revealing and it's freeing.
Yeah.
Yes, that is for sure.
Yeah.
That's a lot of us out there are trying to process so many different things. We also are living in an age of technology and an age of consumption. And, our trauma is coming up in so many different forms, even unconsciously. And I think that I'm excited for people to hear your thoughts around the topic of mental health. I'm really excited for you to share the different types of healing modalities that are available to people.
Okay.
I think a lot of people that we talk to, and we're big, obviously, mental health advocates, we've been in therapy, but there's a lot of people out there that are really a little bit nervous about taking that first step. Also, there's a lot of people that don't have access or affordability to it, which is a whole other episode on healthcare. We'll get there eventually. But can you talk a little bit about your why? Why did you go into this profession? What is behind this for you and why you live to serve others?
Well, obviously, I find that when you combined spirituality with science, I say this because it's not really combining. Spirituality and science are the same thing. And when people discover that, why is that the same thing? I'm not talking about religion, right? Religion is different than spirituality. I'm talking about spirituality. What is spirituality? When you believe that you have a spirit and when you understand the importance of that connection with your spirit, with yourself and your spirit. We have the rational brain, the emotional brain, and we have the wise mind. That wise mind is your spirit. That wise mind is the connection that we all need to find within in order for us to understand ourselves better and understand the world. And I think that is the key. And that is what got me into becoming, the wanting and the curiosity about therapy and about science and about how the brain works. So that's why I decided to do it. And then once I became a therapist, so many things happened, but spiritually speaking, I had an awaken, a beautiful experience with some patients, but also with a friend of mine that, her husband passed, and I was able to help her to go meet him, and it was beautiful. And so when she was in a trance, she was able to get there. It was a beautiful experience, and that changed my life completely in so many different ways. And it's going to be my book.
Yes,
Yes.
I'm
So,
so
yeah.
excited
Can't wait
about
to
that.
get that.
Yeah.
I recently just bought a book on quantum physics, actually,
Yeah.
which really intrigued me, and I just started to dive a little bit into it. But anything that we can get to that point of understanding the connectivity, like you were talking about the science with spirituality, is huge. And thank you for the explanation of spirituality. A lot of people think it comes into religion or having
No,
a certain
no,
faith
no.
or belief.
Spirituality is when you get to know yourself, your spirit.
Yes.
Then you become a spiritual person. You don't have to be in any church. You don't have to be anywhere. And that connection with the universe
I love that.
Me too.
that we all have. There's no way we don't have that. We all have that.
Absolutely. And I think that there have been times, and we'll probably get into it with some of the topics that people had submitted for us, but oftentimes religion these days, it feels like in 2022 gets a really bad like stigma almost. It's like taken on this new form. I mean, I don't know about you. I think you told me how you grew up, but I grew up Catholic and then Christian. And then I think we all kind of have these moments where it's like, is this what I really believe or what I identify with? It can be so confusing to unwind a lot of our even upbringing into this new space, and a lot of people just end up throwing it in the trash can, right? They get to a certain age and they're like, I don't do that, I don't believe that, I don't believe in God, or whatever
But
it
when
is.
people do that,
Yeah,
it's
tell 'em.
because they haven't really found the connection. They found religion,
Yes.
but they didn't find spirituality.
There's a huge difference there. And
There's a huge, I've been a Christian for so many years, and there are so many people that have not. They say so much about how they talk a lot about God, and they know God, they know the Word, but I believe a lot of them weren't able yet to connect with what they are talking about and that spirit and have that experience. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do, the experience within. To me,
Exactly.
religion's community. You're going somewhere with a communion or community of people together that are worshiping or praying or singing. Whatever they're doing is part of like an extended community of many people.
Yes.
But what you're talking about, the spirituality, comes from within inside.
Inside.
That's the real awakening.
If you find
within.
that, you go anywhere.
Yes.
Because there's no separation. You know how people separate so much? No, I'm a Catholic. I'm a Protestant.
Yes.
I'm Buddhist. There's not really a separation.
No.
Because the universe is one, and we all part of it. We are
God.
all part of it.
Isn't
That's
that freeing
That's so
to hear?
freeing.
So many people feel so boxed in by what they feel like they can't get interested or curious about anything else because things can be pretty rigid when you get to certain parts of religion. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to feel a lot of comfort knowing that there is absolutely another way to look at this.
Absolutely.
Oh, completely.
Yes.
Completely.
So for the topics for today, we were able to survey our friends and family. We knew that we were going to have Roberta come on as a mental health expert professional, and we wanted people to submit different topics that they thought could be interesting to break down some of the stigmas against the topic of mental health. So we have the answers in a bowl.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just go ahead and pull
Go
the first
for it.
one, and then we can go
Yes,
this way.
yes.
Yeah.
And let's just see what people wrote us and see what we
Okay.
can learn from it.
Of
So
course.
we call this the magic pasta bowl. where
Okay.
we put people's answers in and read them out loud.
Very
Okay,
nice.
so one of the topics. Okay,
Okay.
we're just gonna go right into this since we're already on there. What is the connection between spirituality and well-being?
We were just talking about that. Very interesting. The connection between spirituality and well-being. I think there's a very deep connection there. What is well-being to begin with? What do you think?
So I was discussing with Alex, in my opinion, there are 4 quadrants that I work with clients with: your spiritual self, your emotional, your physical, and your mental. So to me, your well-being is these 4 quadrants. They're not always going to be in balance or perfect together. One might be off, a little bit like, tilting and whatever. But to me, that's what your whole well-being is. If you could be in tune spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically, taking care of yourself from what you're putting into your body, into your thoughts, you're
Excellent.
surrounding yourself with.
Excellent. That's
well-being
brilliant.
to me.
Great answer. What do you think?
Thank you.
Roberta, for me, when I think of well-being, the first thing I think about is how do I feel? And I understand now a lot of how I feel is regulating my nervous system. So diet, food, exercise, how am I feeding myself literally, physically, emotionally, spiritually? So when I think of well-being, the first thing that comes to mind is how do I feel? Do I feel good? But that's so, I don't know, that could be a little.
But how
that.
can we have that connection, well-being and spirituality? Because without spirituality, there's no well-being. Just like both of you said, there's a spiritual connection, an emotional connection, right? It's everything. It's a collective functioning. It's a machine. It's, that type of connection is important. Without spirituality, there's no well-being. Without you knowing your spirit, you are not really going to know who you are.
That's very true. And that affects all the decisions you
Everything.
make in some
Because
everything.
if you're just making conscious decisions, you are not going to be able, if you're making conscious in the sense of just rational or emotional decisions, you're not going to be successful. There's got to be intuitive decisions. Your intuition needs to speak. I always teach my kids, there's your emotional brain, your rational brain. Yes, very important, two very important brains. But nobody should be ruling your emotional or reasonable brain except for your intuition, for your wise mind. That is the main connection. That is your spirit. And if you have that, together with these two, you're going to have well-being. Of course, physical health as well, but speaking emotionally and,
Yeah.
How do you think people, what if someone was like, okay, I want to connect with my spirit? How do people do that?
There are so many ways to do that.
Oh, another great news from Roberta.
That's a great question,
There are so.
Alex. How do you
I
connect?
think that I have so many patients asking me that same question lately, and it's becoming huge because people really, they are thirsty.
They wanna know how.
People want to know how, and when I give, it's so simple, right? It sounds so complicated, but it's so simple. You connect within yourself, and how do you know? How do I do that, Roberta? Okay, I tell people connect with yourself, find connection, but how? Right? Mm-hmm. Meditation, exercising, prayer, talking to yourself, awareness, gratitude, forgiveness, love. And yes, I said love last because that should be the first one. Right?
Yeah.
Loving ourselves, learning on how to love ourselves. And how do I love myself, Roberta?
Yeah.
Not hurting yourself. That's the first step. Because anytime we are hurting ourselves, we are not loving ourselves. Yeah. And then you have to ask, what hurts me? Right? We have to ask that question. What am I bringing into my life that is bringing me pain?
You mentioned
That is bringing hurt.
Yeah.
And get rid of that.
And that's a huge topic because it's the people that we bring into our lives, the things that we put into our body, the things we put into our mind. Mm-hmm. And if it's hurting us and we're conscious of that and that wise mind or intuition knows it's not right, don't do it.
Exactly.
It's that
That's
simple.
it.
We don't need permission or anybody to give us directions.
But a
Just
lot
don't.
of people just don't have that don't even know that's there. So awareness. Love awareness. No judgment. Love awareness. Less judging yourself and other people.
I think that's probably one of the hardest ones, right? We're constantly judging ourselves.
We do that automatically. We all do that. I don't want us to feel like feeling guilty about it. Yeah. No. We all judge. But with the awareness helps us to judge less, right?
Right.
Because
Yes.
nobody's perfect. We are not perfect. So why am I judging? Am I judging because I'm afraid of what I'm judging? Am I judging because I'm afraid of doing what that person is doing and I'm afraid I can't do the same?
Yeah.
Am I judging because that person, because I'm feeling less than?
Feeling less than somebody or less than a situation.
Mm-hmm.
The less than is something that causes a lot of turmoil, I think, for a lot of us humans.
And am I judging because of lack of my ability, my lack of ability to make connections?
Coming back to the spirit.
Yeah, the connection within self.
In talking about connections, we have to talk about mental health because there are a lot of people out there, most people that are struggling at this moment is because of our serious worldly situation with lack of connection. Everybody's on their phones. Everybody is alone.
Yes.
Where is the real connection? The community.
Yes.
Where is everybody? People often come in asking me, where do I meet people, Roberta? How do I do that? I'm alone. I don't have friends. And that's what drives addiction.
Wow.
Yes.
That is the first issue with, people that are,
Feel that they're alone.
There's so much to unpack around that. We could probably have a whole episode around the connection between addiction, mental health, lack of spirituality.
But loneliness is not just, but you could be surrounded with 100 people and still feel lonely.
Right. You're alone within yourself. I like when you mentioned really quick about talking to yourself. I have talked to myself out loud my entire life.
That is
serious
wonderful.
conversation.
Yeah.
Even though I know, but the conversations I have is myself talking out loud. I've done it several times, and throughout the
Doesn't that
years,
help?
it helps so much. I really have this I just talk out loud. I've always done that, and I can be anywhere, and I've been called crazy for it, but I don't care. It's been my own self-therapy. I think that that's beautiful, just voicing, taking it out, what's inside, and just working through a situation and just talking it out has helped me tremendously my whole life. I was happy to hear you say that, because that's a self-help technique.
Yeah, it's a cope mechanism.
Yeah.
You got to use it.
Love that.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to pass the pasta bowl to you, Roberta. I
Okay.
pick a
Let's see.
question.
Turn this.
What do people want to know around the topic of mental health?
Okay. Healthy relationships and sex.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Healthy relationships are important. I think we all are trying to have a healthy relationship. I don't know, maybe that's a little bit of a blanket statement, because while we all want that per se, I think a lot of us get stuck in cycles. And
But Alex, I have to say something. Healthy relationship needs to begin with your relationship with yourself.
Right.
If you're not having a relationship, a healthy relationship with yourself, you are not going to have a healthy relationship with anybody else.
With anyone.
No.
very true. But how are people even able to identify their state of their health anymore? We're such a society where we're just taught to push through,
You
power
know what
through.
I think? That was a great. I think that we are in the world today. There's an overload of information. Everybody has access to any information that they want to. That causes excessive anxiety. That can cause depression. That can cause so much information that is blinding people instead of helping people. There are people that are not ready to read or hear what they are hearing or reading these days or learning about. Let me give you a simple example. We have kids.
Yes.
Kids these days, they have access to the internet, and they have access to information that brings them an awareness that they do not yet need.
There's something to be said for that.
Like letting a child be a child.
Yes.
Playful, be comfortable with oneself, non-judgmental, in a happy, safe place.
And honestly, I think everything starts there when we are children. We start building patterns, and those patterns can change us forever.
Definitely gets harder to unwind as we get older, huh?
And going back to trauma, like you
Right.
said, everything that involves traumatic experience causes a shift in our brain, a very negative shift. And that's why I believe everybody should be in therapy, because we all had traumatic events.
Yes.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
Yes, and sex is a interesting topic too. We obviously live in a culture now that seems, well, at least here in the U.S., it may have been around for a long time, but I know that I've lived on the West Coast before. There's groups of people who identify with a lifestyle which is like very sexually free. There's people who feel very sexually liberated, and I celebrate all those people who feel like that's the best choice for them. I think that you have shared with me before a very interesting perspective around sex and the mindfulness that we should be bringing to that experience. And I would love for you to just share what you want to share about that.
Well, in my opinion, I might be
I love
wrong.
starting like that.
No,
My
but
opinion.
totally your opinion to share with us, because nowadays, as far as just sex in general,
Yeah.
you know, it's a very sacred, intimate.
Exactly,
Right?
right there. You said it all.
I'm going to say it, and you go. Go
Yes,
with it.
you said it all. It's sacred, in my opinion, as well. And I think, I do quantum healing, I do energy manipulation, energy reading. So, right there, every time you have sex with a different partner, you are bringing the energy, all the spirituality around that person, all the energy that person carries. You are right there sharing all your energy with the person, and the person is sharing all his or her energy with you. So, can you imagine?
It's a lot. And I mean, let's just call it what it is, right? Like, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, including myself, where I've had experiences where I have had sex with someone and I felt horrible afterwards, or maybe that relationship didn't end well, and it the sex brings it to another level, even though we were maybe casually dating for a couple of months, but it feels like it lingers afterwards. And obviously there's sadness about it not really working out, and just knowing that like we exchanged that energy and it didn't work out. It just seems like we should be putting more attention and
more awareness.
more awareness
We are pure
to
energy.
the act of.
We are pure energy. We exchange energy. Right now, we are exchanging beautiful energy. We are always exchanging energy. So imagine in that, it's a lot of energy. And it could be bad energy, depending on our choices, right?
Exactly.
The choices we make.
It's important for, our listeners to understand this, because it is energy. It's just not the physical act of doing. There's a lot more involved in that. And then when people think about it during the act of sex, there's a lot of adrenaline, and there's a lot of, that's the energy and all that feeling. And then there's that high, and then there's that low, which is almost could be like an addict with alcohol, drugs, gambling, has that same thing, right?
And you have to remember, you're vibrating low. You're going to attract all those energies, the lower energy spirits around you. You're going to attract the lower energy. A lot of people come in asking, Roberta, why am I struggling with so many negative racing thoughts? What's happening? The first question that I ask to bring awareness to the person is, are you sure those are your thoughts? And the person looks at me and they say, what do you mean?
It takes you a minute. Are those your thoughts?
Or somebody else.
Because
pointing
we
at
all
you.
have had that moment, right? Where we've all been in that situation where we have the opportunity to do something or not do something, and we have one side saying,
Not even that, even going lighter than that.
Okay.
Let's say we are out.
all
We are
right,
out at night. We go out drinking, right? And there are so many people there. There's all different types of energy, all different types of spirits there. And who of us never said, oh, look at that girl. Look at how she... That's not me. That's a thought that passed by me, that I'm absorbing. And then I catch myself saying, Roberta, why did you just think that? You don't even know that person.
right, awareness.
It's the energy passing, the thought that is being suggested to your mind. It's not your thought. It's the energy that's there being suggested to you. Oh, look at that girl. But that's not me. I wouldn't do that.
I think a lot of us to our core like have this good intention. We talk about this quite a bit, studying spirituality, but nobody's stuck at any one particular level, right? We've all made mistakes.
Oh, no,
We've all,
nobody's stuck.
we are not
We
perfect.
are all evolving.
Yes.
And the reason why all of us here are on Earth is because we are we're almost the same. Nobody's better than nobody.
No.
We're all learning, and we make mistakes. We fail. We get up. It's a test. We pass the test. We move forward. We fail. We go back. You pass. You move forward. Then we fail again. We go back a little more, and then we pass. We move forward, and that's how it is. All of us.
That's life.
That's how we learn. That's
one
how
life.
we evolve. It's how we reincarnate. We come back. Next life, sometimes repeating the same patterns, right? And that's why a lot of people come to me saying, Roberta, I don't understand why I keep attracting the same people around me, why I keep making the same mistakes with men.
Haven't learned your lesson yet.
You haven't learned. So I tell people, ask yourself, what was the lesson here that I had to learn? And don't repeat. Because you repeat, you fail, you repeat. You fail, you got to repeat. You fail. So every time you keep failing with your choices, with the decisions you make, you repeat.
Right. We're accountable for our own actions. I learned that just recently in the last couple of years about, not blaming somebody else, but taking it for myself. If you're not growing, you're dying. Well, we're all going to physically die, but we're not really dying. So you want to continue to grow so that when you go into the next life, you've already made amends with them with all those lessons that you had to learn, and then you're going to hopefully carry on to the next. And
But sometimes
you don't.
we keep coming back with the same people we are making mistakes, life after life.
Wow.
Because we repeat the same patterns.
So just the more awareness that we have, then we're able to
The more
understand
you
it.
can forgive and let go and love, the better.
Okay. All right. Let's see what we have here.
We're learning a lot today. Thank you, Roberta.
This is a good one
Pleasure.
here.
Thank you.
Alex, do you want to repeat the question?
Yeah, so really it was just people submitting, what are the stigmas against mental health? What are the things that come to mind when you want to listen to mental health or break down a specific topic around mental health?
So this one, the spectrum of mental health, what it means to be bipolar, depressed, anxious.
Okay. Bipolar, depression, and anxiety are three different issues, right? When you are bipolar, you do experience depression because bipolar means two polars. Bi, that's why it's called bi, right? Two polars. You are depressed and you are hyper manic, right? So it's bipolar. You're depressed, you have depressive episodes, and you have manic episodes. Depressive episodes, you're struggling with sleeping, you're changing your eating habits, you are struggling with racing negative thoughts, you're struggling with not being able to get motivated to really do anything and to get up in the morning, even to shower and brush your teeth. Those are some of the symptoms of depression. And then the mania is when you're very hyper, many thoughts, racing thoughts, you want to do it all, you're very impulsive, you make poor decisions. That's the mania. That's what mania is. Many of the symptoms of mania. And so that's what bipolar is. You struggle with, let's say, 2 weeks of mania and 1 week of depression, or the opposite. Depends on what type of bipolar that you are. There are 3 different types.
What are those 3 different types?
Bipolar 1, bipolar 2, and cyclothymia.
What is cyclothymia? I've never heard of this before.
Cyclothymia is when you're bipolar, but it's not that extreme. And a lot of people that struggle with cyclothymia, they don't even need medication. Just therapy will help with the awareness and therapy and, all the things that we teach people, to practice, like meditation, deep breathing, yoga, all those good things together with therapy helps. You don't really need to get into. Cyclothymia is the same. You get hyper, but not as hyper. Let's say with bipolar 1, you go on a scale from 0 to 10, you go to 10 with the hyperactivity. And you go to 0 with the depression. The cyclothymia is you go only to 4, and then you only go to 7. It's much in a lesser extreme.
I think it's so helpful for people to hear that. And we also have to normalize that. A lot of us are hanging out somewhere on there.
Very natural.
Exactly.
Who doesn't have anxiety these days?
And who doesn't have their moments of, depression and different things like that.
And some people only struggle with depression. And, I always tell people, so many people doing drugs these days. And, every drug works in a different part of your brain. if you love alcohol, most likely, you're having depressive episodes that you want to feel better, and alcohol does that. If you like weed, most likely you are very anxious, and you just want to calm your brain down, and so you're self-medicating, and you are doing the wrong thing. You should go see a psychiatrist. But it's so much easier, to go out and buy a bottle than to go. That's what people say. It's so much easier. It's what I hear. No, it's so much easier. I'll just keep drinking, having my beers. It is not. You're just damaging yourself, right? You're bringing negativity towards you because you're going to start making poor decisions, and you are damaging your body, you're damaging your health, and yeah.
I'd like to ask you a question on 3 different drugs that maybe you can explain what somebody might be suffering from.
Okay.
Vaping, cocaine, and heroin. If someone is taking any one of those, what do you think that they
It
possibly would
could be so many things.
Okay.
Especially with the, what was the last one you said?
Heroin?
Heroin. Yeah. Especially with heroin. It could be a personality disorder. It could be bipolar.
A lot of
it
these
could be
addictions
depression.
happen. I mean, it's mental health
depends.
first, right?
Yeah.
And then it's finding. I think you've explained this to me before because
It's so complicated to define a diagnose by what drugs people use. That's not how we really define diagnose. We define diagnosis by the symptoms. Like you come to me and you say, Roberta, I'm feeling this, I'm dissociating, or me getting to know you in a while, I'll tell you, maybe you don't know what's happening. Most of the time, people don't know.
right. That's why they're
And
there.
That's why they're there.
They wanna figure it out.
In therapy, that's what a therapist is for. People get confused a lot. They think, a lot of people ask me, do you write prescriptions? And I say, no, I'm not a psychiatrist, right? I'm a
Yes.
therapist. Psychiatrists write prescriptions. So a therapist will define your diagnosis. So that's why people go to therapy, to get better and to find out what is wrong with them, because most of the time they don't know. So
Right.
that's why we do therapy, because what you're verbalizing in therapy will let me know your diagnosis and will allow me to diagnose you.
Thank you for that clarity.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
This is actually a really good segue. So someone else had wrote in healing from trauma, different types of therapy, EMDR,
Okay.
talk
Very
therapy
good.
versus
Yes.
past life.
There are different types of therapy. A lot of people that doesn't do therapy, they don't know, right? They think therapy, what am I going to do? I'm not going to go talk and tell my life. That's not what therapy is. There are so many different types of therapy. You can come in, we could have talk therapy. Talk therapy is usually the beginning of any therapy, right? Because you're talking to get to know the person and to be able to tell the person, hey, this is what I think you need, right? And from what I think you need, what do you think? And usually the patient will agree, be like, oh, that sounds good. Let's try that. That's, explain what that is to me. EMDR is for trauma. EMDR is an excellent therapeutic method for trauma. And there is something about trauma that I want to share.
Yes,
You're
please.
probably sitting there and thinking, I don't have any traumas. And that's very natural, because the trauma that you really need to work on is not what you know, is the trauma you don't know. We have all had serious traumatic experiences that we have no recollection of. Starting, of course, from this life. How about the past lives that you've had? How
So
how
much
do
to
we know?
unpack.
We don't remember how we died so many times. That's traumatic. We don't remember what happened in our past life. That's traumatic.
And we don't remember things
EMDR
why you think.
But EMDR will take care of the traumas of this life most of the time.
What does that stand for?
Eye desensitization, movement, and reprocessing therapy. So we have, it's a little complicated, but we all, what REM sleep is, right?
Yes.
But when you are at night and you're sleeping,
In
your
that deep
eyes
sleep.
move really fast from one side of your brain to the other, right? From the emotional side to the rational side. What that is doing is carrying information flow from one brain to the other. So when you are doing EMDR, you are mimicking REM sleep. Why, Roberta? Because when you go through a traumatic experience, your brain freezes. And then the neuroconnectors in your brain are no longer communicating. That's why we forget. And the EMDR will open that passage, that flow again. So therefore, a lot of the times when I'm doing EMDR, people can remember without even knowing that they even went through certain experiences. They can remember those experiences again, clearly, vividly.
And it's so important for people to go through this process, even though it might sound scary and like, overwhelming to think, wow.
No, but if you are with a therapist that
Right.
knows what they're doing,
Of course.
it is a wonderful experience.
I'm a big advocate of it.
It's very healing, very healing.
I love how nurturing and how caring you are, because you're bringing to the table this invitation to welcome people to not wonder what therapy is about, but know on different levels what the outcome can be for them, and to just connect with somebody who's there to help you.
Yeah, there are so many people that just
beautiful.
need somebody to talk to.
Absolutely.
And that's therapy.
Someone to listen.
People sit there and they say, but I've never been to therapy, Roberta. What am I supposed to do? And they all act
What am I gonna talk about?
Anxious. I go,
hear
no,
that all the
there's
time.
nothing. No, we can start telling me about, your childhood. And that's how we start, conversation.
That's it.
And you build the rapport and you build trust, and it goes from there.
Yeah. So helpful. And, for all the people who are working in mental health that are also dedicated to this work, which seems now to be more of a, we don't even have the supply to meet the demand. So I know that I'm speaking for a lot of people when I say how grateful we are for your dedication to the practices that are
thank
out
you
there
so
to healing.
much.
We have one more
my
that someone
pleasure.
submitted. So
It's what I love doing.
Good.
My life.
Love it.
Codependency.
I don't even know if I know what that means, but maybe that's because I'm just so single. But what do you see about dependency?
Well, codependency is not necessarily you don't really have to be with anybody. You could be codependent with your mom, with your sister, with your dad. Codependency is when you are overly depending on a person, usually that you love.
And how do you see, I'm sure you see couples and do couples therapy and people maybe who have been in a relationship for a long time. And what do you think are some of the biggest barriers that you have to break down when you get to the state of codependency?
Everybody has. I'm treating this woman right now. She cannot get into an airplane. She's so afraid. And she has many traumas. But her biggest issue, if you could believe me, because it's unbelievable what I'm going to say, her biggest issues is her codependency relationship with her mom. Wow. That is the root of all her problems. Codependency is extremely serious. People don't understand how serious it is.
What about
She left college. Sorry.
No.
She left college because of codependency. She had to go back home. And she goes, Roberta, I cannot go in an airplane, but if it's an emergency, anything like an extreme emergency, my mom has to come with me. She's not there with me. And I can't drive far. My mom needs to be in the car.
What I was going to say about this codependency is that, if we can become codependent to a family member, a coworker, a friend,
Anybody.
somebody, and you feel like that if you're separated from that person for too long, like, what are you going to do? Like, you need them so much.
And you need to explain your day, what you're going to do, what you didn't do. And, it becomes a very sick cycle.
I actually had that relationship with my mother.
With your mom.
I had to explain. I didn't have to. It just came out natural. I'm going to do this at this time, be here, be there. I spent this, I did this, I did that. It just all came out. And, looking back at that now, I am so independent. I don't have to live with somebody. I can go out to dinner by myself, go on vacations by myself.
That's beautiful.
But for people who cannot go out to dinner by themselves or spend time alone, is that because they are independent and there isn't a codependency issue?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
It could be trauma.
Yeah.
It could be feelings of less than,
Okay.
insecurities.
Okay.
A lot of people that are not able to be like, oh, I'm just going to go to the movies. But with who? Nobody. I'm going to the movies.
Yeah.
You know, it could just be like insecurity, feelings of, okay, I'm going to go to the movies. People are going to be with friends and I'm going to be alone.
Yeah.
You know, it could be that as
Okay.
well.
Yeah. Thank you. Because I hear a lot of that.
Yes, there is a lot of that.
And with codependency with family members. So it's interesting that oftentimes we struggle with codependency when it's with a family member. A lot of us, maybe a parent, right? Life happens in this life. Our parents get older. You know, they pass if we are so lucky to have the opportunity. It doesn't matter if they're getting older, maybe they're sick or whatever it is, but we have this urgency that kicks in that our whole life is on pause now because we feel like we have to serve that other person that we're very near and dear to.
But what is that? What do you guys think really? Where is codependency coming from? There is a place.
Lack of connection to self. So it's
As well, but
Fear of
mainly fear.
Fear. I was just gonna say fear of losing.
Codependency comes from fear of losing something or someone because you have not yet found yourself.
Yeah.
fear is a very difficult and strong
Because
emotion.
if you are feeling alone and you really feel that need to, you have to be with that person, that person needs to serve you, or you need, right? That connection, that attachment is because you're fearing. You're fearing being by yourself. You're fearing being able to do it by yourself, right? Low self-esteem, fear, and all of that. But it comes from fear mainly.
Yes.
It makes sense.
I want to put a little plug in for these two ladies here. So Roberta and Alex have a beautiful retreat September 3rd through the 5th on past regression. So would you ladies like to talk a little bit about that?
Of course, go ahead, Alice.
Yes, no, I'm so excited. So obviously, I mentioned Roberta's a dear friend of mine. I am certified in yoga, breathwork, and meditation, and she is carrying obviously all of this wonderful healing knowledge around quantum healing regression specifically. And we have designed a retreat weekend and an experience for people. This is going to be our first of many, let me say, because I think that we have something special that we're curating, and we both have the same mission in mind, which is to help other people serve and heal and build community.
Correct.
And so we are putting together our first workshop and retreat. It's at a beautiful destination. We're going to do it the right way and have private chefs, and people can stay overnight, sound healing, meditation, tons of knowledge around quantum
It's gonna
healing.
be
And
beautiful.
it's going to be for therapists, counselors,
if you
everyone.
want to experience, right, quantum healing regression, even if you just want to learn about it, this is the place to go. If you want to experience, or if you are in a different level where you want to learn the method and how to do it, that's what we are going to be teaching.
Yes.
Step by step on the, process, on the practice of quantum healing.
And we're going to start with different levels too. For people, level 1, introductions.
Yes.
We'll do level
Oh,
2.
yes.
There's going to be
And the whole day is going to be
certifications.
beautiful. We have it all planned out.
Yes, it's gonna
We
be
are going to do
perfect.
beautiful breakfast, then beautiful yoga.
Yes.
Yoga before breakfast or breakfast before yoga?
I know we're going to do yoga first and then
Yoga
breakfast.
first. Yeah, that's what I thought.
We are pretty much sold out for this one.
Yeah,
with the
we
exception
are.
of
We
one or
are.
two. But
Yeah.
we can't wait to bring more experiences like this to people who are listening that are into this. Make sure that you follow us on social media.
Yes.
Alpha Mental Health Institution.
Institute.
Thank you, Roberta.
But I think the Instagram is just Alta Mental Health.
yes.
The Instagram, my page.
And you can always find her as well, Roberta DeCastro.
Yes.
And, you can stick with us, of course, on FDI, and we'll make sure that we
Oh,
put
for
her
sure.
information for this
Yes.
episode. We are so grateful to have you join us today.
Thank
We can't
you.
wait for you to come
Thank
back
you
on.
so much
Thank
for
you
this
so much
opportunity.
for coming on.
This was beautiful.
Yes. All right.
I want to
Karen,
come back.
Yes, you will. Oh, there's a lot more to cover on this
You
topic.
are
so
going
we
to come
for
back.
Sure.
It's been
Okay.
so lovely having you. And for all of our viewers, if there's any questions or anything that you need, you can always contact us through social media, and know that what we're bringing here to you is true value with real guests, with real experience and a lot of knowledge, because our most important mission here is to just have you fucking do it for yourself, for you to live the best life ever with all the
That's it.
advocates and all the educators will bring your way. So thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you on our next time. See you
Peace and
later.
love.
Bye.